the last cruise. You ever notice how vacations can feel like borrowed time? Like you're not supposed to be that happy for that long? That's how it felt the day we boarded the Ocean Spirit, a cruise liner so big it looked more like a floating city than a ship. My wife Marcy called it our last hurrah before settling down, our first real trip in years. We were just ordinary people trying to remember how to have fun again. We left out of Portland, headed north toward Alaska, the kind of trip where you watch whales breach in the fog and pretend the world still makes sense. But the thing about the ocean, it's patient, it waits, and it remembers. The first night, something felt off. The air inside the ship had this low hum, not mechanical, not human, like something breathing just under the hull. I told myself it was nerves, or maybe the sea playing tricks on me. I wish that had been true. The second morning, we woke to gray light leaking through the curtains and the sound of gulls screaming. Breakfast in the grand hall tasted of salt and champagne, laughter bouncing off crystal chandeliers, faces glowing with the kind of joy people only wear when they're pretending not to age. But near the end of the table sat a man who didn't laugh, didn't eat, just stared at the window, eyes fixed on the shifting water as if it were whispering his name. When I caught his reflection in the glass, I swear I saw him mouthing something. One word, over and over, down. Marcy told me to stop staring, said it was just the sea getting to people. But that night, as we drifted through the mist and the ship's lights flickered across the waves, I heard it again. That same low hum, closer now, and beneath it something knocking, from the other side of the hull. By the third day, the ocean had swallowed the horizon. The fog grew thick as wool. Even the captain's announcements, those cheerful updates about another fine day at sea, sounded strained, too forced, too rehearsed. Marcy tried to keep busy, yoga, cocktails, the endless buffets. But every time I passed the observation deck, I saw that same man sitting in the same place. Only now there were two others beside him, silent, watching the water. That night, the ship shuddered. Not a wave, something else. Something heavy brushing against us. Plates slid off tables, the lights dimmed to black. And in that silence, we heard it again, a long, dragging sound, like chains being pulled across metal. The hum was no longer under the ship, it was inside it. When the lights returned, half the dining room was empty. Crew members hurried down hallways, whispering into radios that no longer worked. Marcy wanted to go to our cabin, lock the door, wait it out. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we were already too late for that. Because when I looked down through the glass floor of the atrium, the one that gave a view of the lower decks, I saw something moving in the shadows below. Something pressing upward. And for a heartbeat, I thought I saw faces, pale and distorted, like they'd been floating there forever, waiting for someone to listen. That was the moment I realized the Ocean Spirit wasn't just a ship, it was a tune. And it had finally decided to wake up. The alarm started around midnight, a voice over the intercom breaking up with all passengers, please remain calm. Then, nothing but the hum. Cabin doors slammed. Footsteps thundered through the corridors. Somewhere below us, metal screamed as if the ocean itself were tearing through the hull. Marcy's hand clutched mine so tight I felt her nails draw blood. "What's happening?" she whispered. And before I could answer, we heard a splash, heavy and final, from the deck above. When we looked up through the glass, there was no one left on the balconies, only the sea rising higher than it should, pressing against the windows like a living thing. Then the power died. The hum became a roar. In the dark, I finally understood what that man at the window had been saying. Down. Because the ocean wasn't calling to us, it was calling us back. Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still feel the ship moving, somewhere deep below, far from light or air or memory. They call it the last cruise, a story whispered in ports, a warning told to anyone who dares to chase paradise across the northern sea. They say the Ocean Spirit still sails, no crew, no passengers, just that endless hum echoing across the waves. And sometimes on the foggiest nights when the water goes still and the gulls refuse to cry, you can hear it too. That sound beneath the world, that ancient, patient heartbeat waiting for you. It started small, cabin doors opening in the middle of the night, hallway lights flickering even when the power was fine, a smell, briny, metallic, like old blood in salt water. And then the passengers began disappearing. The staff said nothing. The captain, this stiff old man with gray eyes, kept assuring us everything was under control. But every night, the dining hall got emptier. Marcy said I was imagining things, that people just stayed in their rooms. But she stopped saying that after she found the lifeboats. Empty, all of them. No alarms, no splashes, no signs anyone had used them. That's when I found the journal, hidden in the captain's quarters, wedged behind a panel near the helm. It was dated 30 years ago, written by a crewman named Ellis. He said the ship had been lost once before, vanished mid-route, everyone gone. Then it just showed up again, no one on board. They scrubbed it down, renamed it, and sent it sailing again. And I realized we weren't passengers, we were replacements. The next day, the ocean changed color, not blue, not green, something darker, like ink poured into water. The sky bled red at the edges, a sunrise that never quite arrived. People were starting to lose it. A woman screamed in the lobby, claiming she saw her husband's reflection wave to her from the water, even though he'd been missing for 2 days. Marcy wanted to believe there was still a rational explanation. Ships lose people, she said, hands trembling around her coffee. It happens. But she didn't look at me when she said it. The hum beneath the hull grew louder, pulsing like a heartbeat in the floor. Sometimes, when I pressed my ear to the wall, I swore I could hear voices behind it, whispering, chanting, a rhythm like the tide. The captain locked himself in the bridge. Crew members began to vanish too. The ship's PA system kept crackling to life, random words, snatches of breath, someone sobbing before the static swallowed it again. By nightfall, the Ocean Spirit wasn't sailing anymore. It was drifting. The engines had stopped, but somehow the ship kept moving. Slowly, steadily, toward a patch of sea that wasn't on any map. Marcy clutched my arm, eyes wide. "Where are we going?" she asked. And for the first time, I didn't have to wonder, because I could see it now. A faint light under the water, moving with us, waiting for us. And with every passing hour, it was getting closer. The night the storm hit, the sea looked black, not from clouds, but from movement, like something vast was rolling just beneath the surface, circling, waiting for its cue. The wind howled through the ship's corridors like it had a voice of its own. Doors slammed open, lights exploded, and alarms wailed, though no one was left to answer them. I ran through the chaos, shouting Marcy's name, my breath tasting of rust and fear. When I burst onto the main deck, the rain hit like needles. Passengers were screaming, slipping across the slick wood as the ship pitched hard to one side. Lightning flashed, and for an instant the world froze. That's when I saw them, figures in the fog. Not crew, not passengers. They looked like they'd been pulled from the sea, skin gray and peeling, seaweed tangled in their hair, eyes glowing faintly like bioluminescent fish. They moved slowly, almost reverently, climbing the rails and stepping onto the deck as though returning home. And then one of them looked straight at me. Its mouth never moved, but I heard it, inside my skull, where thoughts are supposed to live. Open quote, "You're home now." Close quote. The storm screamed louder. The deck split open with a deep groan. I grabbed Marcy's hand, pulling her toward the lifeboats, though I already knew what we'd find. There were no lifeboats, only ropes hanging loose, swaying over the edge. I forced myself to look down. The sea below wasn't water anymore, it was faces. Thousands of them, undulating beneath the surface like a single living mass. Eyes open, mouths moving in unison, whispering in a voice that sounded like the hum that had haunted us from the first night. Open quote, "Down, down," close quote. Marcy stumbled, her hand slipping from mine as the deck heaved again. I caught her wrist, but the ship lurched, metal shrieking, glass shattering. Rain poured over us like the ocean itself had cracked open. She looked at me then, calm somehow, her hair plastered to her face. Open quote, "It won't let us go," she said. Close quote. And she smiled, not out of madness, but recognition. Then the deck gave way. I remember her hand, slick cold, sliding out of mine, her scream swallowed by the sea of faces below. And in that moment, I understood. The ship hadn't been cursed. It had been hungry. When I woke up, the sea was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that feels manufactured, like a stage reset between acts. The ship, brand new again. Not a splinter out of place. Deck polished, brass gleaming. The air sweet and clean, carrying no scent of salt, no hint of storm. For a moment, I thought I dreamed it all. The storm, the faces, Marcy's hand slipping from mine. But dreams don't leave bruises. My wrists still ached. My clothes were dry, though I remembered drowning. I walked the halls. The laughter hit first, light, careless, beautiful. Passengers filled the lounge again, glasses clinking, music swelling from unseen speakers. A bartender smiled as he poured champagne into tall flutes. The same smile I'd seen the first night. Only now I noticed something behind it, something hollow. I called Marcy's name, my voice echoing through the atrium. No one looked up. I moved from deck to deck, the dining hall, the pools, like the observation deck. Every face bright and blank, every gesture looping perfectly, endlessly. Then I saw her. She was sitting near the window, hair shining in the sunlight, her dress the same pale blue she'd worn that first night. For a heartbeat, my heart almost started again. I ran to her, touched her shoulder, but when she turned, her eyes were empty glass. No warmth, no recognition. She smiled that slow, rehearsed smile and whispered the same two words I'd heard before everything went black. Open quote, welcome aboard, close quote. I stumbled back, heart hammering, but no one noticed. The music swelled again, the ship's engines thrummed, and the horizon rolled endlessly ahead, an ocean without end. I passed a mirror near the bar and froze. The man looking back wasn't me. His skin had that same gray pallor. His pupils shimmered faintly like light trapped beneath water. And when I opened my mouth to scream, the reflection only smiled. That's when it hit me. I was part of it now. Another ghost in the cruise line's endless performance. Every evening when new passengers board, I feel that same smile crawl across my face, automatic, rehearsed, as I greet them at the rail. Welcome aboard the Ocean Spirit, I hear myself say. And somewhere deep beneath us, the hum starts again. Waiting. They call it the Ocean Spirit, but that's not its name. Names have power, and whatever this ship truly is, it lost its name a long time ago. Maybe when the first storm took it under. Maybe when the first soul decided to come back up with it. Now it drifts in and out of the fog, wearing a new coat of paint, a new registry, a new promise of luxury. Always the same route, always the same fate. I've stopped fighting the routine. There's no point. The laughter, the champagne, the sunset photos, they all happen like clockwork. Even the disappearances follow their pattern. Sometimes I still find her, Marcy, sitting by the window, staring out at a sea that isn't really there. We don't talk anymore. We just sit, side by side, pretending this is what eternity feels like. But late at night, when the ship goes quiet and the fog presses against the glass, I remember the truth, the faces in the water, the hum beneath the hull, the endless hunger of the deep. And I wonder if somewhere, the real me, the man who once boarded this ship with hope in his chest and a ticket in his hand, is still screaming underwater, still trying to swim toward the light. Sometimes I think I hear him. Other nights, I don't. So if you ever get one of those glossy emails or ads that sound too good to be true, 7 nights, all inclusive, no record of the company, do yourself a favor, don't go, because some vacations never end. And some ships don't carry passengers, they collect them. And if you listen closely, on the calmest nights at sea, when the fog is thick and the horizon vanishes, you might hear a faint hum drifting across the waves. That's not the wind, that's us, still sailing. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video. It really helps the channel grow and makes it easier for new listeners to find us. Subscribe for daily stories just like this one, and share it with someone who loves a good scare. Thank you for listening and for watching. There's another story waiting for you on your screen right now. Click it if you dare, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.